Walgreens has good news for anyone managing diabetes. We've got your back. That's right. Walgreens pharmacists are here to consult with you in person and answer any questions you may have about new and existing medications. You can even get free advice from our trusted experts day and night at Walgreens.com or the mobile app. Walgreens has all major brands of diabetes testing supplies like Accu-Check and Walgreens TrueMetrics. That's not just good news, it's great news. Stop by and talk to your Walgreens pharmacist today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the buy one, get one free paint sale at Ace, our biggest paint sale of the year. Buy a gallon of our top paint brands and get the second free. And you know what else is free? Our help. With the Ace Extra Mile Promise, get everything you need to paint in one trip or deliveries free. Don't miss the buy one, get one free paint sale now through Monday only at Ace. Limit 2 free gallons of equal or lesser value. Prices may vary. Store stock only while supplies last. Delivery subject to availability. Visit acehardware.com for more details.
It's the River Radio Deals Guy with this week's River Radio Deals half-price deal of the week. From Snap Fitness in Cape Girardeau, we've got a 3-month membership. Price tag $160 will get you the 3-month membership for half price, $80. These 3-month memberships go on sale this Thursday morning, 10 a.m. online at riverradiodeals.com. That's riverradiodeals.com.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Well, lots of clouds around here on this Monday with showers in the forecast today. A rumble of thunder possible too. High 50. Scattered showers and storms tonight. Low 47. Windy thunderstorms likely in the afternoon tomorrow. Some of those could be strong to severe. 71. Sunny and cooler Wednesday's high 50. We're treated weather at the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Golick for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
This is a proud presentation of Mississippi River Radio Sports, the sports authority.
Check this out right here.
It's time now for the Red Hawks Coaches Show on the SEMO ESPN Radio Sports Network. The Southeast Coaches Show airs at ESPN 92.9 FM and 1220 AM from Wings Etc. in Cape and Jackson. So what do you say?
Come on, let's go!
Let's go! Let's go live to Wings Etc. on SEMO ESPN.
Welcome in. It is another edition of the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We are live at Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau, and this is our final Coaches Show of the spring. So our next Coaches Show will be right before football season, coming up in early September. So this will be it. Your last chance to join us for lunch right here at Wings Etc. We're in the Cape location. And, of course, on Mondays, those award-winning jumbo wings are just 69 cents at Wings. And if you're not in the mood for wings, they have a full menu, and that includes their freshly made burgers, and they have a lot of different burgers on the Wings menu. They have wraps, they have subs, quesadillas, entree salads. You can try their smoked ribs. Their appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos and their deep-fried pickle spears. And you'll notice when you come in, all of the televisions are on the latest sports programming. Where are you going to watch the national championship men's basketball game tonight? Well, we invite you to come right here to Wings. You can watch it in high def with a lot of good friends, good service, and great beverages right here at Wings. And again, that is the national championship game tonight. There is St. Louis Blues hockey. You want to keep an eye on the hockey game and watch basketball, you can do that as well. Cardinal baseball getting underway in about an hour. You want to stop by here after lunch, watch some Redbird baseball. They are in Milwaukee. We invite you to do it in high definition right here at Wings Etc. And again, this is our final Coaches Show of the spring season for the calendar year 2018. We're going to be talking some Red Hawks baseball. The baseball coach, Andy Sawyers, is here. And the Red Hawks All-American first baseman, Tristan Gagin, is going to join us in just a little bit. He's Coach, welcome. And Tristan is now surveying the menu, deciding where he's going now.
So when you look at Tristan's license plate on his truck, it says the West wasn't won on a salad. And so I don't think that Tristan is going to be having the big chicken salad today for lunch.
The big chicken salad is not coming to his table.
Even though that's what I need to eat, because we ate at Shoney's 2 times while we were in Tennessee, and I don't know if you know what the Shoney's breakfast buffet looks like.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But they had fried bologna on it on Thursday, and so I was excited to have the fried bologna.
That's a weakness for you, the fried
bologna?
bologna?
It kind of takes you back to my roots. You know, when I was a wee lad, you know, my dad wasn't much of a cook, but if my mom was out of town, my dad was going to make fried eggs and fried bologna. That was on the menu, and so you don't see that very often. So I was kind of happy to see it.
And you know, if there's a Golden Corral around, we have a penchant on the road to hit those Golden Corrals as well.
Yeah, and we started going with a heavy dose of the buffets. We started playing better. So right now we're going to let it ride. I don't know if that's good for the long-term health of our young men, but right now it's kind of working. So we're gonna double down on the buffets in the immediate future, I think.
I did notice at Golden Corral there seemed to be a line forming with some of the Red Hawk players right behind the chocolate fountain.
The chocolate fountain. You know, the chocolate fountain, that's kind of a point of contention with us because they kind of raised their rates once they added the chocolate fountain. And so I think that it's kind of taken a little bit of a hit on the budget now they added the chocolate fountain. We actually asked for a deal. We told them, could we get a better rate if we promised the boys wouldn't go near it? And they didn't think that was funny.
For it.
No, they didn't. They didn't think it was funny either. So I was disappointed with that. But yeah, sometimes, you know, feeding 35 young men on the road is a little bit of a challenge. Finding something that everybody likes is impossible, and getting them to eat enough food. So.
And because some of them need to eat a little bit more, and then you would like to scale back a couple of those guys. I know, like your center fielder, Danny Wright, he's coming back from mono. You want him to eat as much as he possibly can.
And we tried to dunk him in the chocolate fountain, believe it or not. It didn't work, but you know, yeah, there's some guys we're trying to get to gain weight, and there's some young men that are where they need to be and don't need to gain any more, and there's people like me that have gained too much weight, so we probably need to stick with the salad bar. But
why isn't our metabolism like it was when we were their age?
I don't know. I think it's the direct relationship with where my hair goes, you know?
It's not fair. What's really cool for me is to be back in that press box, so I'm standing behind everybody during the anthem, and all hats are off, so I can just, you know, survey the bald spots, the umpires, the coaches on either team, and so, you know, you can't hide. The hat's got to come off at some point during the anthem.
Yeah, you know, my wife tells me the same thing. She's asked me if I could stand at the other end of the line so she doesn't see my head shining during the anthem.
So, hey, your hitting coach, Craig Ringy, takes care of all the travel arrangements, and that's not an easy thing to do in terms of setting up rooms. You want to get the best rates that you can. Sometimes you may have a late checkout. That's a little different deal. They want to charge you more for that. You'd like to shop around, but you know, if you're going to come and have 20 different players, you're going to have a big set of rooms, so you want to get the best deal. Can you do that when you set up some of these restaurant runs? I know Cracker Barrel is a place that you go, and you set up these restaurants ahead of time where you'll pull in, sit down. They've already got the section reserved, and the food is on its way out. You've already ordered your meal. Can he negotiate a little bit with that? Is he pretty good at that?
Yeah, you know, so actually Coach Dixon does the meals. So kind of our workflow with a lot of the non-baseball stuff is I take care of ordering the equipment. Coach Ringy does the travel. Coach Dixon does the meals. And then also Coach Dixon, being the recruiting coordinator, also handles a lot of that paperwork and kind of that office workflow. So that's kind of some of the non-baseball stuff that has to be taken care of. So, yeah, Coach Dixon, he'll line up. You know, we'll go to Cracker Barrel and you know, we're ordering, you know, 42 meals. You know, they'll give us a break in terms of the price and stuff like that.
So, Coach Dixon, I know Coach Ringy does the travel, so you split that up. That's a little less for one guy and kind of distributes everything, because that's a big job. I know, especially like in basketball, one guy handles it all. Tom Berryman handles everything. No one notices when everything runs smoothly. They only notice when there's a snafu somewhere, right?
That's right. It's a thankless job. It's kind of like being an umpire. If you do your job right, nobody knows your name. But when it gets messed up, everybody knows it. So,
speaking of umpires,
okay,
we had a little controversy at the end of one of the Austin Peay games. It was the second game of the doubleheader on Friday. They moved the games up this week. You had a rainout on Thursday. There was no way to play in Clarksville, Tennessee, against Austin Peay on Thursday because it was a constant rain the entire day. So no way to play. They don't have artificial turf like you do. So it was much more of a challenge. And at the end of that second game, you go into the ninth inning tied. The game ends on what was ruled a walk-off balk. There's a runner at third. A balk was called. You immediately came out of the dugout. and you were we heard that you put the game under protest. You're talking to the 3 umpires, the entire umpiring crew. First of all, I have never, ever seen umpires go get a rule book and come onto the field with a rule book. That's something I'd never seen. Take us through what went, what transpired after what was ruled a walk-off balk, which gave Austin Peay a 7-6 victory. And have you ever seen umpires bring a rule book onto the playing surface ever?
That's the first time for me to actually have the umpires bring the rule book and bring it out. So what happened was Aaron Stretch, our left-handed pitcher, he kind of, he's a 84, 86 mile an hour. He's not throwing 90 miles an hour. He's a pitchability guy, and he's kind of part of his repertoire is he likes to change the rhythm and tempo of his delivery to throw hitters off balance. So if you haven't watched Aaron pitch, think of Johnny Cueto, right? Like everybody's seen Johnny Cueto pitch in the big leagues last couple of years. So Johnny Cueto has that kind of variations in his timing and his tempo, and so Aaron Stretch does that a little bit.
Marcus Stroman
does that, yeah. So that's out there. That's not exactly commonplace, but it's not unique anymore, really.
But these guys see these major leaguers kind of varying their delivery.
Yeah, so that's what Stretch did, and he, with a runner at third base in a tie game in the 9th inning, he tried to add some of that variance in timing to his delivery, and they immediately balked it. And I think if the umpire had used different words with me, I wouldn't have protested it. But what he said was, he can't do that. That's deceptive. You can't change your delivery. And I was like, no, you can. Like, you can. You turn on baseball tonight. Every night you're going to see some big. You can change your delivery. What he should have just said is, Andy, I ruled out a double stop. And he was right, because what Stretch actually did was he actually completely paused his motion briefly, albeit briefly, but he actually
while he had his leg in the air.
So he came set, hands at the waist, came set, looked at the plate, picked up his leg, began his motion to the plate, and what he really wanted to do was just kind of give a little bit of a shimmy or a little bit of a wiggle and then go down the mound. What he did was he actually completely stopped and paused. Well, obviously you can't come set, move, and come set again and then deliver a pitch. So his intent was to change the timing and the tempo of delivery. What he did was he actually stopped it. And then he threw the ball to the plate. They call a balk. We're used to seeing him make that change in tempo and timing, but he doesn't always stop. So I think it took everybody by surprise. We weren't sure what exactly we saw. The umpire wasn't exactly sure. And he said, Andy, he can't do that. And I says, no, he can. You can't do that. And so I was like, well, this is under protest. We're going to play this game under protest. I think that's legal. And they went and got the rule book. And I was really proud of them, because they don't have to – when the game's over, technically I'm not allowed to go with the umpires the way I did down the line. But it was professional. Like I wasn't screaming at them. We were in conversation trying to make sure this was right. And I said we were going to protest the outcome of the game. They went to the rule book, brought the rule book back. This is the rule. This is why we called the balk. It says right here, once you come set and begin your motion to the plate, you cannot stop. Andy, he stopped. He paused. And as such, that was a double set. That's a balk. And I said, you're right. You're right. So, but I appreciated their willingness to get the call right.
Right.
They let me say my piece. Technically, they probably shouldn't have stayed out there for as long as they did to let me say my piece.
I've never seen umpires stay that long when a game is over.
But they wanted to get it right, which I appreciate. They went to the rule book. They brought it back. And then once they said that, Andy, we ruled that he paused, that he stopped. That's a balk. It's done. I said, all right, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys because, obviously that's a disappointing way to lose a game. But I leave the ballpark feeling a lot better than they don't even talk to me or bring the rule book out. It's like, nope, game's over. So I appreciated that piece of that. But obviously a very, very disappointing way to have that game end for us, the second game on Friday. So I was proud of our guys. Really, I was proud of how we played, honestly. Their starting pitcher in game one, Costanzo, he's one of the top 2 or 3 starters in our league. We have 16 hits against him, and we should have scored more than we did. We had 5 off Costanzo. We probably should have scored 8 or 9. But our young man, we had 16 hits. We competed really well against him. We get the game with a lead to the 9th inning, give the ball to Carlos Vega, our closer. And that's how you draw it up, right? Get the ball to your closer in the 9th inning. They beat him. We've had some issues with walking guys late in games. He didn't walk anybody. They got 3 hits. And tip your cap. If you're going to throw the 9th inning, at some point, somebody's going to hit you. And they got 3 hits against Carlos. They beat him. They walked us off. So that was a disappointment. And I felt like the first half of the second game, that's a huge emotional letdown, right? We have a lead in the ninth inning, we don't get it done, and I felt like we were hung over that first half of the second game. We had a hard time mounting any energy or mounting any push, and so we were beat the first half of the game on the second game too, and then we make our comeback, right? We rally, we get their starter out of the game, we score 6 runs in the last 3 innings and force the tie. And then in the ninth inning, we have the really unfortunate circumstance with the balk. And so I really wasn't disappointed with how we played. I didn't like the outcome, certainly, but I thought our kids competed well. And then we came out on Sunday and absolutely dismantled them. Final, score 20-plus runs and have 20-plus hits. That's a pretty good go. So I thought our kids competed pretty darn good down there at Austin Peay.
First game was a 6-5 win. You referenced 16 hits. Only 5 runs out of the 16 hits. I think you went 0 for 5 with runners or with the bases loaded in that particular game. So there were opportunities where you really could have hurt them. You could have spread the game open. I know in the 7th inning you had bases loaded, nobody out, and you think, well, we're going to get at least one here. And sometimes you kind of tip your cap to the opposing team. They did what they needed to do, and you did not score in that 7th inning. Couple of strikeouts, a fly out to right, and that was the inning.
That was probably the moment of decision for that game, right? Like we came out really good offensively early. We score in the first. I think it was the first inning. Tristan Gagnon, base hit to left, RBI, drives in Azell, I believe. I forget who scored, but Gagnon has the RBI knock to left field in the first inning. We jump out, score first against a very good starter. I feel like we're in control that whole game. But we had a chance to spread them out in the 7th, and then we didn't. And so one thing that you'll see in baseball, you can be in control of the scoreboard but not have momentum, right? So we load the bases up with nobody out, and they go punch out, pop up. And even though we were ahead on the scoreboard, I felt like their dugout had the momentum from that point because we have a chance to blow them out, really create some separation. We don't get the swing off we need. We get off the field without scoring any runs. And then they have grabbed momentum. What their dugout, if you go bases loaded, nobody out, and then get off the field without giving up a run, you know how your dugout's going to feel. You're going to feel awesome. You're going to feel like you guys have something going. And so they kind of rode that momentum of that inning and then mount the comeback late in the game. So if I could have picked a moment of decision for that game, really, it was the top of the 7th when we did load them up and didn't drive anybody in.
Going into that series with Austin Peay as a team, you were hitting 248 against left-handed pitching. That weekend, and you faced, I think, 5 different left-handed pitchers, maybe even 6. It was unbelievable how many lefties you faced. But you raised your batting average 25 points against left-handed pitching. I mean, you got lots of hits against lefties. Was that encouraging? Because earlier in the season, that seemed to be a little bit of a trouble spot, but now some of your left-handed hitters are really locked in, like Chase Erhan and Justin Durden, left-handed hitters who were making outs a lot against lefties early, and now they are really feasting on left-handed pitching.
Yeah, Justin Durden especially. So if you look at our lineup construction, we've got Tristan Gagnon, who was a preseason All-American in the cleanup spot. And he's really the one true right-handed hitter we have at the top of the order because we're going lefty in the leadoff spot, lefty in the 2-hole, switchy in the 3-hole. Tristan is a right-handed hitter in the 4-hole, and then it's Durden in the 5, and then Danny Wright in the 6, and then Wade Stouse in the 7th. So if a team wants to skip Tristan, if they're going to go a left-handed pitcher, it's fairly easy for them to skip. By skip him, I mean like walk him or pitch him tough, and if he wants to swing at a bad pitch, he can. But if they want to face a lefty, they can do it because we only have one right-hander in the middle of the order. And so for us, early, I thought teams were pitching around Tristan to get to Justin Durden because Justin wasn't going great against left-handed pitching. But he has really improved. His bat, I think he's now hitting 300 against left-handed pitching.
400
against left-handed pitching. But what also is equally as impressive was he took a lot of walks this weekend. And early, right now, Justin's leading our team in strikeouts. So that kind of usually the person who has got that stat is usually like swinging wildly, right? Like an overly aggressive swinger who's going out of the zone. Tristan is doing a much better job of controlling the strike zone. I think he may have walked 5 times on the weekend, especially against left-handed pitching, which usually that's gotten him out. That'll throw him the breaking ball in the dirt, and he swings over the top of it and gets him out. But he's starting to not only hit him better, but he's also starting to take tough pitches and get better pitches to hit and take his walks. So his Justin Durden's development on left situations, I think, is a big part of the reason why we're going so good offensively. Tristan Gagnon was the player of the week a week ago in our conference for his big RBI weekend. But, if it's only one guy in the middle, you can always pitch around him, right? But to have Durden right behind Tristan, and they're both going so good. I think right now they're second and third in the Ohio Valley Conference in RBIs. It's hard to get around both of them. And, by the way, the guy hitting in front of him, Trevor Ezell, he's pretty good too.
Yep.
And so it's really hard to navigate those three guys. You have to go through Ezell, Gagnon, and then now Durden. That's a pretty tough middle to navigate. Somebody in there is going to sting you.
The numbers on Durden this weekend, and he's your right fielder, first-year guy that really hadn't played a whole lot of baseball since high school because of injury. We can talk about it, but Justin Durden in the 3-game series against Austin Peay, 8 for 10. That's an 800 batting average with 4 walks. His on-base was 857. 3 doubles, 5 runs batted in, 5 runs scored. That's a pretty good weekend.
Yeah. That's a month for me back when I was playing to have that many hits. I didn't get as many hits as these guys are getting, but so right now we're leading the conference in hitting and scoring really, really good in conference games, and just right now our first 7 we're getting some pretty significant production. Well, the first 5 the numbers are really good, but when you look at 6 and 7, Danny Wright's a freshman All-American a year ago, is coming off mono. His production's starting to pick up. He had a grand slam yesterday, the grand slam on Saturday. So Danny Wright, you got to feel like he's on his way to putting up the kind of production that you expect to see. Then you've got the freshman Wade Stouse, who's second on our team in home runs with 5. And so even though the batting average isn't great, Wade's hitting 222. He has hit 5 home runs and driven in 18. So when he gets a hit, it's usually a pretty loud one. And so I just feel like those first 7 guys that's a pretty tough group of 7 to go through.
And right now, despite dropping 2 of 3 over the weekend, you're sitting in second place all alone in the OVC. You're 8-4. Jacksonville State is 6-3. They've already played out of conference this year, so yours comes a little bit later on. So it's 11-1 for Tennessee Tech. And right now, Coach, they're threatening to pull away from everybody. They've won 12 consecutive games. Now, Eastern Illinois is, down at the bottom of the conference. They just feasted on them. You're going to get them this weekend, Eastern Illinois. But, boy, it's hard to be going much better right now. I don't know how many Division I teams are riding 12-game winning streaks right now.
No doubt. Tennessee Tech, realistically, they should be the best team in our conference. They won the league last year, and they returned the bulk of their team. So it's an experienced team. It's a talented team with championship experience. But, it's not always the best team that wins, right? It's the team that plays the best. And I know this. I've won championships before with teams that didn't expect to win a championship. It's kind of hard to repeat sometimes because you have a different set of – everybody's got problems. But when, they say that success turns the we's into me's, it's not easy no matter how good you are. And so I don't think, obviously, they're going to be – that winning streak is going to come down at some point. But they're going to face their set of challenges at some point. And hopefully we can stay within striking distance. And if they stumble at all, hopefully we can take advantage of it. We're in the middle of 3 – so the OVC has a balanced schedule. And that we have 10 weeks, and we go home, away, home, away, home, away. And we're in the middle of 3 of our toughest conference road trips. We had to go to Austin Peay, and they were tied for second. And then we have to go to Jacksonville State, and they were tied. Their winning percentage with us, at second place. And then we have to go to Tennessee Tech, who's in first. So these 3 weeks and how we play on the road are going to have a huge determination how we finish our season. I thought Saturday's game was really important. That's something that good teams do. Good team can have a bad day or bad weekend and then find a way to salvage a game. And I thought our young men played. Obviously, the result was really good, but we were not going to be denied there on Saturday to salvage that game and to leave Clarksville with a win.
So it was 2 one-run losses in the doubleheader on Saturday. I think that's 8 one-run losses now. Just a couple of things differently. You go 4-4 with those 8 losses. Your record is very different.
Different story.
So the 1-run losses, but despite all of that, you come back and put 20 runs on the board the very next day. So as it sits now, even though Tennessee Tech is doing what it's doing, you're out hitting them 351 to 330 in conference games. So you've got a 21-point advantage in batting average. They've outscored you by 9 runs. You and Tech are the only teams who've scored over 85 runs. You've got 111. They have 120. So you have more hits than they do. Right now your offense, especially in conference games, is rolling right along despite not being able to push a few more runs across in that first game.
Yeah, no, we're getting some very, very good production offensively. Our young men are really, really bought into kind of what we ask them to do, the kind of the approach or the plan that we try to run off every day. We're right now we're pretty tough offensively. We're in the middle of. We started the year, we thought we were going to have some strike-throwing starting pitchers and then have an elite-level bullpen. We thought we were going to have Christian Vick in the bullpen, who is our Friday starter and doing good, and leave Carlos Vega in the bullpen. We thought we were going to have an elite-level bullpen. And what happened is we just didn't get the starts that we needed. Early in the year, we were getting some bad starts. So we took our bullpen guys and moved them to the front of it. Now we're starting 2 of the 3 guys that we're going to form the basis of this, awesome lockdown bullpen, and they're doing good. Christian Vick's giving us a good go. Carlos Vega, if he stays on Sunday, he's the best Sunday starter in our conference, hands down.
Just had 10 strikeouts in his performance in 6 innings on Saturday.
And so, we're playing significantly better once we made that move and got the guys that we started the year in the bullpen and got them to starting roles. So our task now is to kind of rebuild the bullpen and get guys back in roles. And we're a little bit, between, some stuff. If you ask me, we close Carlos on Friday. If you ask me who my closer is on Saturday and Sunday, I don't have a great answer for you. We kind of have to play it by ear and piece it together. So hopefully, as good as those 2 young men transition to starting roles, hopefully we can kind of get the bullpen put back together because, I said before the year I thought we were going to have an extremely improved bullpen, fantastic. And early in the year our bullpen pitched pretty darn good. We just didn't get good starts, and so we had to move some guys and change some roles. So right now that's kind of what we're looking at is we're getting really good offensive production. Our offense is dialed in. Those guys are really swinging the bats good. We're starting to get much, much better starts from our starting pitchers. Christian Vick's been good. Vega's been good. Logan Spalt's been steady. He doesn't go super deep into games, but he's been steady, and he gives us a chance to score first. And he's leaving the game earlier than I think we'd like, but he's usually leaving with a lead. So that works. What we have to do now is kind of get the bullpen repaired because we kind of pulled a bunch of guys out of it. Not a bunch, but 2 really, really important guys. Right. So, we're starting to get more innings into Logan Winder, who wasn't pitching a lot early in the year. He's got good stuff. He's 90 with a wipeout breaking ball. He's kind of battled wildness at times, and his ability to throw strikes has got to improve. So, he's a guy that's receiving some increased innings out of the bullpen. Daniel Berthold's been fantastic since we got him out of the starting role and got him to the bullpen. He's just been fantastic. Another good outing for us in Game 1 on Friday.
If you could find another bridge guy, a guy who could come out and give you 3 innings in a conference game after your starter's out, don't you think Berthold would be a perfect closer?
100%. So kind of where we're at right now is we were overworking him because we're getting that run of really not good starts, and then I was just riding Daniel Berthold, and I was riding these guys so hard. At some point, the production was going to fall off, or they were going to get hurt, and so we kind of made the decision. I started using, instead of using Daniel Berthold 2 times on the weekend and on the midweek game, it was like, Dan, we're going to use it on Friday. And when we get you in the game, you're going to go, and you might throw 60 pitches. But we needed him to be more of a multi-inning guy. So we're using, Daniel as a multi-inning guy. We're using Joey Burris as a multi-inning guy. And then Logan Winder didn't have to do it on Game 3 on Saturday because we had the huge lead. But then Logan Winder is now that 3rd multi-inning guy. So I like where we're at in terms of the depth of those guys and having those guys have the ability to all give us 2 or 3 innings to bridge between the starter and the closer. What I need either somebody to become the closer or get like Ryan Lossman going or Cody Creed going to kind of take over that multi-inning role to throw the 6th and the 7th and the 8th, and then get somebody else into that closer role. And that's how we're kind of stuck, is we're trying to get all that piece of it. If
you could find that, don't you think Berthold would be a guy that, because you trust him to throw strikes?
He's been throwing strikes.
He just
he's been striking guys
left-handed batters.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's funny. If I say Sunday's game, but we're Saturday's game, but Game 3 of the weekend, I know we used Daniel for 40 pitches on Friday, but if it had been a close game, we had to go to the bullpen early, I was going to try to use Daniel just for 3 outs for the 9th inning to close Daniel, and he would have been in the closing role on Sunday. It's just, you have to get there first, right? So we're trying to work through that, and we've got a couple guys that we think are pretty good. Ryan Lossman, we think, is a good pitcher. He had a good year for us last year as a junior. We're not getting a ton of mileage out of Ryan right now. And so I think there's opportunity for him to get in there and get better. Cody Creed is a young man that we think has got a lot of talent and hasn't thrown a lot for us this year, hasn't thrown enough strikes. So we've got a couple guys we think have the stuff that couldn't be that multi-inning guy come in and throw finish the 6th, throw the 7th and 8th, and then give the ball to the closer at the end. So we've got some candidates. We just need to kind of get them going and get them pitching better.
All right, we're going to talk to your All-American first baseman here in just a couple of minutes, Tristan Gagnon. Tell us about the recruiting process with Gagnon. He plays on a team that has a lot of guys that, his JUCO down in Oklahoma, a lot of guys that are playing Division I baseball. So, they produce a lot of D1 guys. Tell us about the recruitment of Tristan Gagnon, and does anyone bring more family members to games than the Gagnon family who have to migrate all the way from Oklahoma?
Well, if you want to talk about recruitment of the Gaggons, we probably need to talk about his younger brother, Troy, who's a sophomore back at NEO right now. But Tristan was already on the team when I was hired, so we inherited him.
Okay.
So I did not personally handle Tristan's recruitment. But he's got a younger brother, Troy, who's playing shortstop and in a 3-hole at NEO. So we might need to look into that, and maybe we can get 4. They're both junior college players. Maybe we get 4 years out of the Gaggons. Just split them between Tristan and Troy. But I did not handle Tristan's recruitment. He was already signed to come to SEMO when I was hired.
All right. His nickname, and we'll ask him about it, is Newt. And that's what his family calls him, but that's not what you call him. You call him Big Beefy. Where did that come from?
Well, he's a strong guy. He's a big guy. He's a power hitter, and he's a 6'1", 225-pound power hitter. He's a big guy, and he has a license plate in his truck. It's just beef. It's what's for dinner. The West wasn't one on a salad, right? So his family, they run cattle back in Oklahoma, and I'm partial to that because I grew up with cattle and hogs on a farm where I'm from. So I'm partial to guys that know they're in good stories. We have a young man on our team from New York, Alex Canty, and he's from New York and doesn't know anything about anything from the country. And so they kind of say, Alex, do you know what a male cow is called? And he's like, I don't know, do you know what a female cow is called? And do you know what a steer is? And they have fun with him because he doesn't really know much about anything from the country. But Beefy, I didn't know that his nickname wasn't Beefy, but we've called him Beefy ever since set foot on campus. And it works for us here.
How about the evolution of him as a hitter, Coach? I mean, he had a great year last year, hit right around 300. Led you in home runs and RBIs, and was top 5 in the OVC in runs batted. I think he was 3rd in the OVC with 63 runs driven in, and he's in the top 2 again this year in runs batted in. But it seems like he is getting some RBIs up the middle and to the opposite field maybe more than he did last year, and he had a great year and an All-American year last year.
Yeah. So I think for Tristan's evolution as a hitter, there's some guys that they need, their RBIs come in bunches. Like they get hot and they hit a couple home runs and they have the great week because they hit 3 home runs and they drive in 12. But then they're also going to strike out a lot because it's a bigger, longer swing, and they're going to the pole side, and there's a hole there to pitch to. And so kind of our request for Tristan was to become more of a complete hitter. And by that I mean we don't need your home run doesn't need to come when you hit a home run. When the runner is at third base with 1 out, you have to have the ability to put the ball in play, hit the ground ball to second base to drive that guy in. Or there might be a runner at second base with 2 outs that you don't need a double, you just need a base hit up the middle, to drive that guy in. And so when you look at the week that Tristan was the OVC Player of the Week, he had 10 or 11 RBIs that week, but he had a 6 RBI game against UT Martin where he didn't pull a baseball. He went a triple in the right field corner, double in the right center gap. So he has 6 RBIs that game without pulling a baseball. And so that to me is kind of – I think Tristan – I think he has a chance to have 80 RBIs this year. I don't know what the OVC record is or anything like that, but
85.
I think Tristan has a chance for an 80 RBI season, and it's because he's more of a complete hitter now. Whereas last year, there were probably – I know his strikeouts are down this year from where they were a year ago, so he's just learning how to be more of a complete hitter instead of having to, get the mistake and crush it out of the yard for a 500-foot home run, which he's very capable of doing. He's also able to hit a ground ball up the middle or hit a line drive to right field and kind of pick up those 1s and 2s. Because when you look at the guys in the big leagues that always drive in 100, it's not the guy that hits 250 and strikes out a ton and hits 35 home runs. That guy ends up driving in 75 runs. The Albert Pujols of the world, the Cardinal fans are so familiar with him when he was in his heyday. Albert didn't have to hit a home run to drive you in. He could drive you in a lot of ways. He could hit a sac fly. He could hit a ground ball to second baseman. If there was a runner at second and 2 outs, he could hit a ground ball up the middle. He had a feel for how to drive runs in. And good cleanup hitters fit that role. Usually you see a guy in the 5 or the 6 hole in a batting order that has big power but has holes to be pitched to. So there's more swings and misses and more strikeouts. And I just really feel like the reason why Tristan he had a great year for us last year, but his production has increased this year. His RBIs are up because he's able to do those types of things now. He's able to hit the ball the other way now. He's staying on breaking balls much, much better than he did a year ago. Last year, I think if you threw him a slider down, he would have swung over the top of it more often, where this year he's covering that pitch significantly better. I just think he's a better overall hitter.
He's hitting .432 with runners in scoring position. I mean, that is a really, really big number. And as far as the power at any point, he can launch one. If his, I don't know what they call launch angle, was a little bit higher up, he probably would hit more home runs. He just hits the ball so darn hard, right? Yeah. I think we don't want to change his launch angle. I don't want to get in his head, but he just hits so many line drives, kind of like Matt Holliday used to. Just if those balls were kind of more up in the air, they're probably flying out of the ballpark.
You know what's interesting? You brought up launch angle. Did you watch the Giants and the Dodgers play last night?
Sure did.
So did you catch A-Rod's riff on launch angle?
Yeah.
He thinks it's stupid, right? Yeah. So home runs are up in the major leagues, but runs are down. Why is that?
Well, because of there are a lot more strikeouts as well.
Yeah. So, obviously a home run is more valuable than a single, right? Like, if you take the hit and break it into the components of bases earned, a home run's worth 4 times as much as a single. Like, obviously, I would love it if all of our guys had a lot of home runs. That would be awesome. But you can use the major leagues as a sample size, obviously. Home runs are up in the big leagues, but runs are down. What's the goal of an offense?
Score runs.
Score runs. Yep. And so our goal as an offensive approach is we want to put our team in the best position to score runs, not just hit homers. And so it's our opinion, and the numbers would validate it. I mean, the big leagues are living through that. You have these guys who are hitting 220, striking out, but hitting 30 home runs, but they're only driving in 50. A-Rod went off about this last night in the Dodger game. It's not good baseball. We would rather have a guy like Tristan hit 10 to 15 home runs, but hit over 300 and drive in 80 and have a lot of doubles. That's better than Tristan. We want you to try to hit 20 because he might be able to hit 20. But if he hit 20 home runs, he might only hit 240 because he is swinging and missing and he's hitting a lot of balls straight up. Because to try to hit 20, his entire approach would be geared to getting the ball up and over the fence. And the home run is kind of a cruel mistress. That she's kind of fickle. Sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not. And to be an elite run producer, you have to drive in runs when you're not hitting the ball over the fence. And so if your goal is to score runs, which obviously that's the goal, is to score runs, you don't just sell out lock, stock, and barrel to hitting the ball over the fence. I love them. I love home runs, and I want our guys being aggressive. But I also know, just like the big leagues, with the whole launch angle craze, doing nothing but try to get the ball in the air is going to lead to much higher strikeouts, and it's actually going to decrease runs. So I think Beefy's pretty darn good where he's at.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy with where he's doing right now.
Let's just say, like the other day when the wind is just howling in, you got launch angles. You can hit the ball in the air all day. It's not going anywhere on a day like
that,
right?
So look at Danny Holst. Danny Holst is a great example for what I think being a complete hitter is. Do you think Danny Holst has above average power?
No.
But he hits 11 home runs as a senior. Why does he hit 11 and he hit 10 as a junior? So Danny Holst in 2 years of Red Hawk hits 21 home runs without above average power. How does Danny Holst do it? He's a really good hitter, and he hits a ton of balls on the barrel. And if you hit a lot of balls on the barrel, some of those balls are going over the fence. So our objective is to barrel up the ball and hit it hard. We want our guys being aggressive and try to hit the ball as hard as they can. What we don't want them to do is being so focused on getting the ball up that we're collapsing our swings and we're losing our barrel and we're making too many mistakes underneath the baseball.
Well, what I think is interesting, you're scoring in conference games, you're scoring with Tennessee Tech.
Yeah.
You're hitting 21 points higher than them, but they're hitting way more home runs than you are, but you're scoring right with them because you're getting those hits and you're not relying on the home run.
We're batting significantly higher with runners in scoring position. Now, the way they've recruited their team and their lineup construction, they've got more big men. They've got more guys that look like Durden and Gagnon than we do, so they're going to be more prone to hitting home runs. But, I kind of like our offense approach. Our approach, when it's good, we should be able to have a game like Sunday or Saturday where we score the 20 runs because we can overwhelm you, but also we can have a game with the wind blowing in. We can also, scrape it together and get you 8 singles and have good at-bats. It was funny, I was talking to the coaches from SIUE. We played them last weekend, and Tech had gone to SIUE. And I said, tell them about Tech. Obviously we're in second, they're in first, and that's going to be an important series in a couple weeks. And they're like, they did nothing but complain about the wind blowing in all weekend. All they did all weekend was, that's a home run at our place. That's a home run. I said, well, guess what? Like, you play baseball with the conditions. You don't get to pick them. And so hopefully with us.
Also, their power alleys are 360. It's a little different.
Yeah. So hopefully kind of how we're going about it and kind of how we've kind of achieved our lineup construction. Hopefully it's an approach that's going to pay off for us in a variety of situations, and we can hopefully score in all kinds of ballparks and not just small ballpark when blowing out.
All right, we're going to talk it over with the Red Hawks All-American first baseman Tristan Gagin. He is here. It is our final coaches show of spring 2018. Coach Andy Sawyers is here. We'll talk with Tristan Gagin when we come back after this timeout from Wings, etc. in Cape on SEMO ESPN.
Etc. We love sports. So much that we packed our walls with tons of big flat screens tuned to the very best sports programming. At Wings, Etc., we love big, cooked to tender, crisp perfection wings. And so do our fans, who have voted our wings best in more and more cities across the Midwest. At Wings, Etc., we love beer. We love it so much that we have over 40 different kinds of beers in bottles and on tap, including your favorite regional craft beers. Wings, Etc. It's not complicated, and we like it that way. Come see us today.
Walgreens has good news for anyone managing diabetes. We've got your back. That's right. Walgreens pharmacists are here to consult with you in person and answer any questions you may have about new and existing medications. You can even get free advice from our trusted experts day and night at Walgreens.com or the mobile app. Walgreens has all major brands of diabetes testing supplies like Accucheck and Walgreens TrueMetrics. That's not just good news, it's great news. Stop by and talk to your Walgreens pharmacist today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the buy one, get one free paint sale at Ace, our biggest paint sale of the year. Buy a gallon of our top paint brands and get the second free. And you know what else is free? Our help. With the Ace Extra Mile Promise, get everything you need to paint in one trip or deliveries free. Don't miss the buy one, get one free paint sale now through Monday only at Ace. Limit 2 free gallons of equal or lesser value. Prices may vary. Store stock only while supplies last. Delivery subject to availability. Visit acehardware.com for more.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Well, lots of clouds around here on this Monday with showers in the forecast today. A rumble of thunder possible too. High 50. Scattered showers and storms tonight. Low 47. Windy thunderstorms likely in the afternoon tomorrow. Some of those could be strong to severe. 71. Sunny and cooler. Wednesday's high 50. We're treated weather at the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network. This is your local home for Mike and Mike, the Sports Huddle, and all your favorite teams. Get it all right here.
Makes my day go great.
On the SEMO ESPN Sports Network.
Welcome back. It is the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings, etc. in Cape. It is our final Coaches Show of spring 2018. So your last chance at least to join us here at Wings, but they are open 7 days a week. You can stop by Wings, etc. anytime. And, of course, they're open late on the weekends when the games run late, and the game will be running late tonight. I think it's going to be after 8 o'clock Central Time before they tip off the men's national championship basketball game between Villanova and the Michigan Wolverines. You can watch it in high definition here. You want to watch some St. Louis Blues hockey at the same time. They'll be hosting Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals, who just locked up a division title yesterday. You can keep an eye on the Blues game. You can watch some college basketball tonight. You can watch some baseball. There'll be some late-night baseball on in high def here at Wings. It is your headquarters for Cardinal baseball as well. They're getting set to throw the first pitch in Milwaukee a little after 1 o'clock. And don't forget, if you're coming for lunch, their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49 at Wings. And on Mondays, they have the award-winning jumbo wings for just 69 cents, and that is for dine-in or carry-out. So take advantage of that special on Mondays. It's Wings, etc. Good food, great times, and home of the Coaches Show. Let's talk some baseball with Red Hawks All-American first baseman Tristan Gagin, who has joined us. And we were kind of debating. We were talking with Joe Hobbs, the owner, as to what his suggestion might be for you. And he said, well, how about that big nasty burger? Because you get the best of both worlds. You get the pulled pork on it. You get the hamburger, the big patty. Then you get some onion rings and various things. What'd you go with?
I went with the loaded cowboy burger. It was pretty much the same thing, just without the pulled pork. So it was really good.
It came with onion rings.
It came, yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Have you inhaled it all? Is there still a little waiting for you?
No, I ate it all.
It's all gone.
Every bite.
All right, now Ramona, Oklahoma. That's where you're from. Explain just exactly where Ramona is and what's the population of Ramona.
Ramona's straight north of Tulsa and kind of by Bartersville, south of Bartersville. I looked at the population the other day, and it's like 550 people.
550.
So, yeah.
How many of the 550 are Gaggins?
About 400.
I was going to say you have a big family. We get lots of emails from family members, and they love their baseball, don't they?
Oh yeah. It's funny because I told him I was going to be on the radio today, and told me to give him a shout out, and I said if I did that, I'd have to make a list because I would feel terrible if I left someone out.
Well, just go ahead and you can give a couple of shout outs,
maybe. Troy wanted me to give him a shout out. My mom.
All right.
My other brother Woody. I'll just go ahead and give my dad and Lane, Grandma, Grandpa, Granny Mary, Charlotte, Janie, Renee. No, there's too many.
All right. Hey, that's good. Yeah. That's a good start because you had a bunch of your family members. I didn't get a chance to talk to them, but they were in Springfield recently when we played Missouri State, which is about geographically as close to Ramona as we're going to play this year, right?
Yeah, that's the closest we'll get by far. Yeah, that was a huge surprise seeing that many people. There's 15, 20 of them there, and I didn't know they were coming.
That was great, and I know they were positioned kind of right behind home plate. And it was a cold day. So
yeah, they were troopers. I didn't know it was supposed to be that cold. I mean, the wind was blowing right on them the whole time, so they were cold, but they enjoyed watching me play. It's been a while since they got to see me play, and they enjoyed it. They had a great time.
Now, I know they've made the trek they did last year to Kappahaw. Have you had many of them hit Kappahaw yet? But I bet you they're planning on coming at some point, right?
Yeah, my mom and my two little sisters and my youngest brother came 2 weekends ago. And soon, I don't know when exactly, but I will have a big group coming.
Going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think senior night, their senior weekend, there's going to be a huge crew. But before then, I'm sure there'll be a couple more weekends with them.
And they are not silent at ball games. I can tell you that right now.
No, I hear them. It's been like that since every game I've ever played in, you can hear them.
Now, here's one thing. Now, your brother Troy plays at NEO, Northeastern Oklahoma A&M, where you play. There's an A&M on the end of that, right?
There is.
So that was your junior college. That's where he's playing. And I guess the bragging rights kind of went to him because he actually hit his first home run before you hit your first home run. How did that conversation go?
Well, Troy, he wasn't really stirring the pot as much as my dad was because Troy actually hit the home run before we even played our first game. So
he had an advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dad said the home run race is on and Troy's leading. So luckily, it only took about a couple weekends, and I took the lead from him. But he's catching up now.
Where's he at now?
He's got 3, and I got 4. I've been stuck at 4 for a while, but I ain't worried about it.
But if we get into the RBI production, I'm sure
I got other stuff to back me up.
Dad, talk about your evolution from we were talking about it with Coach Sawyers, but tell us about your evolution from last year, where you had a great RBI season. And you finished, I think, just 8 shy of what the school record is. 71 is the school record. I think you had 62 last year. So you finished 9 shy of what the single-season record is, and that was in 2014. Matt Teller had 71 RBIs. What is different about your approach at the plate this year, if anything?
Really just not swinging at stuff that'll get me, don't swing at their pitch. Look for a certain pitch or a certain location and just – they're going to give you their best pitch. So see if their scouting report is, and whatever their best pitch is, just leave it off. Because usually it's just stuff in the dirt. Very rarely do you get a guy that, overpowers you and throws a fastball high. But just lay off that pitch, and then whenever you get one close to the zone, just drive them in early and really just quit getting myself out. Because, it's at the beginning of the year, even this year, I was getting myself out, and we had to talk, and just things have gotten so much more simpler whenever you don't get yourself out.
Also, it seems like the successful RBI guys, the guys who are clutch in big spots, the guys who produce with runners in scoring position, are guys that are going up there early in the count looking for something, not guys that are taking 3 or 4 pitches. Those usually don't seem to be the guys that excel in RBI spots. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I like to swing early as I can. I mean, just don't get too aggressive with it and get yourself out. But I like to look for a fastball early, and because I know I'm not going to get – I feel like that first fastball I'm going to get is probably the best one I'm going to get of the whole at bat. So if I get it, put a barrel on it, you got Trevor and Peyton and Erhan always on base for you. That's another reason the RBI numbers are up there, always on base, and they all can flat out fly. So they just make it easy too. It's really relaxing because you got a guy on second base, and if you just hit a single, that guy's going to score because they're super fast.
Now, have you made it known to a guy like Peyton Faulkner or a guy like Chase Erhan or a guy like Danny Wright, these guys who are supposed to have all this speed, that you also have 4 stolen bases this year? Have you pointed that out to anybody yet?
No, I haven't, because mine are kind of quiet compared to theirs.
Yeah, you had a quiet one this weekend.
Yeah, because most of the time there's always a runner on third. We're just trying to get the throw to go down and score the run at third. But
you're still racking up stolen bases?
They don't throw down, so I get an easy stolen base, and I'll take it. It looks good.
And anybody that's got you on their fantasy team loves it. When you're racking up the stolen bases. So the way that the offense is going right now, what are your thoughts on what you've seen? Because it seemed like some of the new guys, Justin Durden, Wade Stouse, Chase Erhan, some of the guys that were new to the lineup, new to Division I baseball, got off to slow starts, but a lot of those guys are really swinging it well now. What have you seen as the season has kind of progressed a little bit?
I just feel like everybody's kind of slowed it down. I know Erhan and we did not start off the way we wanted to. And, I mean, I don't know, seeing me starting off that slow, I started off 0 for 15. Them seeing me like that kind of made them want to try to press and do more. So I called them. We had a team meeting or players-only meeting and called them together and just told everybody to slow down. We got a lot of season left, and we are really good. We just can't try to do too much at once. And it started clicking. I don't feel like there's a hole in our lineup at all. And Danny Wright, his average is down, but I think that's good because people are going to look at that and overlook it because he's a really, really good hitter. But there's no telling how long he's been sick before he actually got it caught. And they're going to see that, and they're going to just feed him fastballs, and he's going to drive in more runs every time. I don't think there's a hole in our lineup.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Danny Wright, who led the team with a 376 batting average last year, is getting over mono. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't had mono, you don't understand, how much that zaps you of your energy. It zaps you of your strength, stamina. He was losing weight. He's not a guy that can afford to lose any weight. We're starting to see that snap come back. that guy was a freshman All-American last year.
Yeah, he was always, he's working out. He works out all the time. And he was getting, he was gaining some weight. And then that hit him, and he just lost weight really fast.
All right, who's the best on the bench press in the weight room?
We don't get a bench.
No bench.
No,
they won't let you bench. Okay, what? Give me something that you guys max out on.
We haven't maxed out since we got back. Well, we maxed out as soon as we got back, and then we just kind of keeping our muscles, in shape. We don't really do a whole lot of heavy stuff anymore, but we're just going off percentages. Whenever we got back, we maxed out on squat and deadlift.
All right, who was taking charge there?
I never seen all the numbers. We're kind of split up, but Barra got me in deadlift. I think he got 520 in deadlift, and I got 515. I didn't want to.
Ouch.
Well, I was in the second group, and I didn't see how much he got.
Right.
So
you're being modest. You probably
I could have beat him.
You're squatting probably more than anybody on the team.
No,
right?
No, I'm not the greatest squatter in the world.
Yeah,
but I don't know who would be. There's some Barra probably won both of them. Honestly, he's really strong.
Who talks the most in the dugout during a game?
Probably Hunter Sutherland. He's the only one I hear. He's got the deepest and loudest voice, but he's always talking. He's just locked into the game. He's not talking smack. Dan Berthold probably is the most goofiest talker in the dugout.
Berthold is the guy. There's always that guy.
And he's a lefty pitcher, so it just kind of goes hand in hand.
That explains it, right?
Yeah.
I'm a left-hander. I understand.
Right.
I understand how it goes. All right. So as you guys get ready for the weekend, Eastern Illinois comes in. You guys just dropped 2 of 3 to Austin Peay. What's the thought process when you drop 2 games like you did on Friday, 2 one-run games? You easily, I mean, just one hit, one something in either of those games, and you win them both, and you probably sweep the series. What's the thought process after you lose 2 the way that you did on Friday to come back and just demolish Austin Peay on Saturday?
Well, the thought process is Sunday, how the game went, is how the first game on Friday should have went. And, I mean, we all realized that it was just one hit away from just being broke open and something keep going. So Sunday and the first game Friday should have been identical, in my opinion. And we all see that, and it really sucked to lose it, but it was on us. I mean, I take it on the hitters. The pitchers had a great game that day, and we had the bases loaded and always runners on, and we just didn't capitalize. So I think the first game and the last game should have been the exact same scores, in my opinion.
What is it about left-handed pitching where you just absolutely own lefties?
I don't know. I don't really think about it. I honestly had no idea that it was going like the way it was going. I don't see a lefty up there pitching and think, oh yes, it's a lefty. I don't think anything of it.
Plus, it's probably tougher. That slider low and away is probably tougher than any pitch a lefty's going to throw you, right?
Right. Yep.
All right, Newt is your name. I mean, they never call you Tristan when they email or anything. We get emails from your family. It's never Tristan. Where did Newt, that nickname, come from?
All right, so this summer I was on the radio show there, and they asked me the same question I didn't know. So today my dad said, you better know where Newt came from, which I got to educate. I had a pretty good guess, but I didn't want to be wrong. It's from Lonesome Dove. There's a character on there. His name was Newt, and whenever I was born, my uncle just called me Newt. So it just stuck. Everybody calls me Newt. My friends, family, obviously, everybody. I'm known as Newt. It's really weird to hear my dad or mom. My mom calls me Tristan, but my dad never calls me Tristan. It's just he's always Newt. So.
Well, I know that. I happen to know that Lonesome Dove is the greatest television western ever. Tommy Lee Jones, Robert Duvall, but I know the character Newt is Rick Schroeder. You don't look a lot like Rick Schroeder, but I know that was his nickname in Lonesome Dove, so it came from Lonesome Dove.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I watched it, I was like, this is where I got Newt from. So I didn't think it made any sense, but it stuck.
But it's a heck of a western, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so Big Beefy.
Yeah.
Was that a Coach Andy Sawyer's invention?
It was. It actually didn't even. I don't remember it ever being called Beefy in the fall, last year, and then in the spring I got back and Beefy. Everything was Beefy, and everybody caught on to Beefy, and I didn't care. It was kind of neat, but it stuck. Everybody here calls me Beefy. No one knows Newt. Everybody calls me Beefy.
Nobody ever says Gags?
There's Gags.
I was gonna say sometimes Gags flies out of my mouth. That's the first thing I think of.
Yeah, it's Gags and Beefy. That's the two go-tos here.
All right.
Back home it's Newt.
All right, so you got Eastern Illinois coming in this weekend. You guys already 8-4, so that means you played 4 weekend series. You're all alone in second place. Kind of assess where you guys are, and are you feeling good about where you are?
Yeah, we are. I mean, can't do anything about what's already happened. We'd love to be in a better spot. Like, we knew we gave away a couple games and had good chances in a couple games, but I think we're in a good spot because everybody goes to the field, now it's like, man, we didn't know what we were going to be like. And I think now people on our team are realizing, man, we're really good. Like, it might not have shown that at first, and our record might not show that, but we are really good. And the focus levels went way up the past month compared to what it was whenever we were struggling. And now we're realizing we're really good, so we don't want to lose that. And we can't take teams lightly either. So,
Eastern Illinois comes in this weekend. Who's the most famous baseball player from Oklahoma? Is it Mickey Mantle?
Yeah. Yep, probably so.
You a fan of the Mick?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. How did you get your jersey number, and you changed jersey numbers? What happened?
Well, coming in here, I've always been number 25, and Clay Chandler was 25, and I didn't really want to have to beat him up for that jersey.
I was going to say you might be able to probably pry that off of him.
Yeah, but he was pretty good, and he didn't want to give it up, and I respected that decision. He said, let me see how my fall goes, and he ended up having a really good fall, so he kept the number 25. So I got 36 because it fit.
And now you're back to 25.
Now I'm back to 25 because Clay left. So I got number 25 because I was a huge fan of Mark McGwire growing up.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, just being 3 and 4 years old, 5 years old, just you seeing people hitting home runs all that much. He just looked huge. He's a huge guy.
Barry Bonds wore 25 too.
Yeah,
he hit a couple of home runs.
Yeah, he hit a few.
All right, it's going to be Eastern Illinois this weekend. One other question for you: how fun is it on a day where the weather is great and there's a tailgate at Capitol Hall and that place is absolutely packed? How cool is it to play in front of a crowd like that? Because then you go to places, some of the places around the OVC, and it's not even a third of the crowd there, and you're playing in front of crowds like that. What's the difference?
It's really, really fun to play in front of a crowd like that because I get to talk to a lot of people because I play first, and they were like, man, this is unreal. Like, how many people are here? I said, I don't know. It's like this all the time. And even if it's not a tailgate weekend, there's a huge amount. I just say you should see what it's like on free beer weekend. I said it's unreal. Like they're loud. I mean, they're into it. And then you go somewhere like we played at Moorhead last year, first game of conference or first series at conference, and 7 people there.
Yeah,
and you're just not used to it.
So you're hearing from opposing team players that are like, man, this is awesome.
Yes. Oh yeah. 100 every time. Every time, at least 1 or 2 guys will say, "This is unreal." It's along those lines,
Well, let's hope we have good weather and good crowds this weekend. We will see you over there. Glad you enjoyed the burger for lunch, and we'll see you tomorrow night if the weather doesn't rain us out.
All right.
Good to talk to you.
Yep. Take care.
Tristan Gagin, Red Hawks All-American first baseman. We're going to take one final timeout. We want to discuss why the Red Hawks are going to be wearing green jerseys tomorrow. We'll wrap that up with Coach Andy Sawyer's one final timeout. Coach's Show, SEMO ESPN.
Sports bars everywhere these days, but there's only one place for award-winning jumbo wings, bigger beers, and better food and drink values all week long. Wings Etc. Grill and Pub. We're so much more than wings. Enjoy wraps, salads, subs, seafoods, quesadillas, amazing appetizers, and awesome daily lunch food and drink specials. And now, when you can't eat here, order online for pickup at togo.wingsetc.com. It's fast, easy, and convenient. Wings Etc. Grill and Pub. Good food, great times, and online ordering at togo.wingsetc.com.
Walgreens has good news for anyone managing diabetes. We've got your back. That's right. Walgreens pharmacists are here to consult with you in person and answer any questions you may have about new and existing medications. You can even get free advice from our trusted experts day and night at Walgreens.com or the mobile app. Walgreens has all major brands of diabetes testing supplies like Accucheck and Walgreens TrueMetrics. That's not just good news, it's great news. Stop by and talk to your Walgreens pharmacist today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
Final segment here on the Red Hawks Coaches Show at Wings Etc. with Coach Andy Sawyers. And don't forget the big national championship college basketball game tonight, Villanova and Michigan. You can watch it in high definition right here at Wings in either Cape or Jackson, and keep your eye on the Blues game. They'll be hosting Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals tonight. Blues 4 games left in the regular season, 1 point out of that final wild card spot. So they need to win at least 2 or 3 of these final games to lock down a playoff spot. Big game for the Blues tonight as well. Final segment here with Coach Andy Sawyers. Coach, you're keeping an eye on the weather for every game, really, but you're really eyeballing it for tomorrow, and it looks a little dicey, right?
A little dicey. We're still too far out to get anything definite, but there's some chance of a severe line of thunderstorms coming in tomorrow evening. So as of right now, it's calm between 5 and 7 p.m., and we're set for a 6 o'clock first pitch. That doesn't sound good for getting that thing to go off on time. Now, by tomorrow morning, that line of thunderstorms might come in earlier, it might come in later, but we're definitely watching tomorrow's weather very closely, and tomorrow's game time could be moved to accommodate the weather. The hard part is with a midweek game, Arkansas State, they're not in town, right? So they have to drive up tomorrow morning, and then depends on what time they can get their kids out of class and so on and so forth. So sometimes on that midweek game, you don't have as much flexibility as you do with the conference opponent who's already in town. For conference opponent, they're going to come in the night before and they're already here. Makes it pretty easy to switch game time. So we're following that pretty closely, and there could be a change in game time, and we'll just have to follow that and make a decision tomorrow morning on what the best thing to do is.
Anybody that comes out tomorrow or any of the midweek games in April are going to notice the Red Hawks at home are wearing green jerseys, and that is because you've teamed up with Mid-American Transplant during National Donate Life Month, raising awareness about organ, eye, and tissue donation, and celebrating the donors' families, and transplant recipients, and it will all culminate with the Green Up game, which will be Saturday, April 14th. Red Hawk softball is also participating. This is a really cool thing. We've seen Pink Up games in the past, and that has become a tradition, but now you're wearing the green jerseys.
Yeah, so earlier this fall, I had a chance to have a meeting with our athletics director, Brady Barkey, with our representative from Mid-America Transplant, and kind of listen to what they do, and it was a pretty fascinating presentation, and they asked if we'd partner with them, and so we were excited to do that. So we've got it's baby blue and light green, so that color scheme is going to be a little different, but we do have a baby blue and light green uniform combo, and we're wearing those uniforms every midweek in the month of April, as well as that Saturday, which I believe it's Green Up game is Saturday, April 21st. Softball is going to wear a green jersey on April 14th. So just as we didn't know this, I didn't know this, is organ donation it's organized regionally, and so each region has a designated organization who's responsible for awareness and donor signups and things like that. And Mid-America Transplant is responsible for the Midwest, and they do a really nice job, and they wanted to partner with us to get awareness in the boot heel and things like that. So we're happy to do it, and the boys haven't seen the jerseys yet. We're passing them out today, so we'll see what they think of them. But it's a different combo. We're just trying to figure out what hat to wear with them and all that stuff.
I was going to say, you got a special hat?
No, we don't. But we'll make it work.
All right. So it'll be tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Keep your ears perched. We may have a change in game time because of the weather. Coach, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for your time during our spring coaches shows here at Wings, etc. And we wish you the best of luck as you make a run for the OVC title.
Thanks, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. That is Coach Andy Sawyers. That is going to do it. Thanks to Tristan Gagin for joining us. And thanks to Joe Hobbs and everyone here at Wings, etc. for hosting us all season, football, basketball, now into the spring sports season. Dean Field, our chief engineer, Mike Rennick, our ops manager, thanks so much for all of their help, and thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. We'll get you back into ESPN radio programming for a final time this spring. We say so long from Wings, etc.
Southeast Missouri's ESPN Radio Sports Network, 92.9 KLSC Malden, 1220 KGIR Cape Girardeau, and 1470 KMAL Malden.
Digits. Texas Tech beat Kansas.